Hello everyone, this is Drew with Morning Momentum Room, and today was July 14th, and before the video starts I just wanted to show you the stock picks. Today is just another simple video of me day trading. These were the intermediate and mega cap picks, if you are interested, and then these are the ones we're going to be trading today, these starter cap picks. So as you can see, GMEX and LHAI did not go up by a considerable amount, so it was kind of hard to make money on these today. If you sold LHAI quickly and then maybe got back in on the dip, you could have made some because it was going to have an eventual return. But I ended up losing money on these first two and making pretty much the gain on these second two. So that's just a little introduction before the video starts, and I'll be voicing over the video today since I didn't record my face when I did it. So yeah, enjoy the rest of the video. Okay, so the footage here starts right at 6:30, so the stocks have already been bought. I'm just looking through them kind of frantically to see the early morning action here. This part is really important because in the early morning they can have pretty wicked drops, or they can suddenly shoot up for a minute, and it's always important to catch that part. But today, through these first few minutes, I didn't notice anything massive. They were all kind of creeping around. The only one I got out of very early was GMEX because it was going down, and to begin with it didn't look like it had a good trajectory, so I didn't really have the same faith in it as the other three. But when things start out, I pretty much have an equal amount of hope in each one of the picks. I don't really pick favorites because they've been picked by the analytics team and they know better. So yeah, Lake Holm wasn't doing much. This one was up very slightly. Which this is good. When it's going up slightly, that kind of lets you know that it's going to be on an upward trend today, especially in the beginning. And then we finally see Shuttle kind of take off, and it's up 6%. And once it's up 10% or so, it's best to put a trailing stop loss on something like that. So now that I know that's going up, I'm keeping a closer eye on Shuttle. And this was a wonderful day to show off the trailing stop loss sell order, because when it's winning like this, it's best to not sell immediately and instead put the trailing stop loss so that your sell order goes up along with the graph. And even if you lose out on a few percent from the trailing stop loss, it's better than losing out on even more because you sold early. So I enter all my shares here. Now I see that one going up slightly. Yeah, see, GMEX and Lake Holm both pretty much were, I mean, they weren't hopeless, but it was going to be like next to impossible to actually make a gain on them today. GMEX did not go up basically at all. And I see it going up to 485, and that's what I'm happy putting this trailing stop loss order, because even if I lose a couple percent, 3 or 4%, I'm happy with the plus 10% gain, and now it's at 12%, so now I would only lose a little bit and I would still make 8%. So that's a perfect play on something like Shuttle in the early morning. You put that trailing stop loss order in once it's winning, and then you have time to focus on everything else. So GMEX actually did look like it had a little hope there, but I believe that drops quite a bit more all of a sudden. That's interesting because thinking back to this day, I forgot about the fact that GMEX did that. And it looks like Shuttle just fiddling around with its number there got me out. And I got out pretty close to the high here. It doesn't go any more than like $5 or so. So that's a pretty good play there. And then that one is almost reaching the same standard, this Vision Marine technology. So it's almost at the point where I should do a trailing stop loss the same way I just did on Shuttle. And there's some stagnation there. So if you were doing a normal sell order, this is also the time to sell Shuttle, because it went up and now it's stagnated for a whole minute. Which, when they're going up quick like that, they may only stagnate for a minute or two before they start dropping. And then GMEX is dropping now more than it was before. Lincoln is actually positive at this point, which I end up losing a lot on that later in the day because it goes down and then I look for it to recover. And here I'm putting the trailing stop loss on Vision Marine. Now it's gone up 7%. And I figure if I put a 4% trailing stop loss, I'll carry up with it the rest of the way. So I see it go down a little, but I'm still confident it was going to go up. So I do believe I put the trailing stop loss pretty quickly here. Yes, there. And even though it looks to be going down, that trailing stop loss is actually really going to work out for me here. And now Lincoln started to go down a bit. It's almost I believe it is the 5-minute mark, just about right here. So they made their tick on the graph, and now they're making their second tick. GMEX does not look good. It's still going down. And I just decided to sell it because it's going down too much. And this is obviously the one I had the least faith in anyway because of that pre-market action. Lincoln similarly is going down now. I really believed in Lincoln today, so I stayed in too long on it, but this would be a wonderful time to leave Lincoln and keep an eye on it. So if you leave a stock like Lincoln in a situation like this, where you had belief that it was going to go up and it looked to be going up and had that momentum, then you just want to leave it and then watch it and wait for it to do a whole dip or like start a U motion to be starting to trend back upwards. And then maybe you can get back in. Because even if it loses a little more once you get back in, you probably will end up losing less overall than if you stuck with the entire downfall. And I got it on a good time. GMEX there fell even more. And so did Lincoln, fell even more. At this point, watching this back, I feel bad that I stayed in because this looks bad. And even though it had some upward momentum, it seems like I've missed out on it here and I should leave. And at this point, I'm up $300. But at the end of the day, I'm only up 100 after all this. And this is investing about 2,100 in each stock. That's just what I decided to land on today, even though my account total was around 9,000. So yeah, look, this trailing stop loss still has me in on Vision, still going up. So this is really a perfect time to use that trailing stop loss. It's keeping me in during these games, and it hasn't shoved me out of the play because I put a wide enough 4% on it. Now on some, like for example, if it goes up like 60-70%, maybe you want to put like 8 or 9% on it, or maybe you want to just sell it. But in general, the higher it goes up, the wider a trailing stop loss you can put. Now at this point, I'm out of 2 of the stocks. I would like if the video showed the first one I got out of, so I could show you all how it went down. And now I'm still up on it now that it's $2. See, it stagnated at that 4.96, and now it starts to really go down. And the downward trend does continue. It never reaches that again. And this is still keeping me in at this point, which is wonderful for that Vision. And now At this point, I think I'm going to speed through the rest of this and not voice it over. But basically, I stay in all day on Lake Home until it has an even more substantial trough later on. And you'll see that happen later in the video, but I'm going to be fast forwarding the rest of this. So thank you for watching, and hope you learned something from this. It was a okay day. I made $100, which I'll show at the end. But yeah, have a good one. Now, just about here, I finally do leave Lincoln Holdings. That was kind of my final straw, that last drop at the end. And then I'll show my total, and that's it. So if I had sold LHAI earlier when it was a better idea, I would have been up 300 instead of 100. But overall, a good day. Made 3%, I believe. So, or I would have made 3% if I had played that just perfectly. So thank you for watching. Have a good one.